Romania's worst ever airline crash left them hopeless and distraught. Then boarding flights for Bucharest arranged by the airline. Flights that would take them to the scene of their grief, a field in a distant Romanian village.
In Brussels, relatives of those who died in today's crash had been waiting to meet their loved ones. At first, there was no news. Later, after the relatives had been told what had happened, the airline arranged a flight for them to Romania so that those who wanted to could visit the crash site.
This was the first indication many friends and relatives had that something was terribly wrong. Flight 371 from Bucharest cancelled on the arrivals board at Brussels. As news trickled through from Romania, the men and women who'd been waiting for the flight were told to assemble in the unlikely surroundings of an airport cafe. But still, no word on what had happened, little to console their anxieties.
There is a procedure between airports, and the Bucharest airport and the airline should advise us of what is really the cause of the crash, the result of the crash, and the people who are in the plane at the time of the crash.
The Airbus involved in the crash was to have made a return flight from Brussels to its base in Bucharest this afternoon. But for those who were waiting for a regular scheduled flight and who now wait for information, any information, these are anxious hours. Howell Jones, ITN, Brussels Airport.
This morning, orange-suited Airbus investigators arrived from France to join police and soldiers in the search through wreckage. By mid-afternoon, they'd located the two black box flight deck recorders, which will help them piece together what really happened. The wife of the railway station master at Bucharest, who watched the aircraft burst into flames, told us the first explosion happened in mid-air.
After the boom, after the first boom, she see fire, the big fire.
Investigators said that even with the discovery of the black boxes, it would take a long time to establish the cause of the crash. They refused to comment about the possibility of a bomb on board. But some Romanian radio stations and newspapers like the Oglindă are speculating that this was the work of terrorists. As to who may have been behind a bomb, well, the wild guessing continues, ranging from the mafia to Islamic fundamentalists. The visitors, though, who came to pay respects, concentrated their thoughts on the victims, not the causes. Relatives clutched photos of the ones they'd lost. Her son was the security marshal aboard the Airbus. He was just 23 and should have been married soon, she said. Now all I have are my pictures of him. Terry Lloyd, ITN, Bucharest.
But say such accounts of explosions must be treated cautiously.
People often get confused when they report this. The sight of an aircraft blowing up is a traumatic event, and the time tags attached to all the information in your brain sometimes get jumbled, and you imagine that the fire had taken place earlier than it had done.
Site still sifting for clues which might help them establish if this was a bomb, mechanical or pilot error. They're hoping to find the flight deck recorders, the black boxes, which should tell them what the crew were talking about in the last few seconds. But much of the plane has been smashed into small pieces. Terry Lloyd, News at 10, Bucharest.
To say that there has been an explosion, that an aeroplane has exploded in mid-air. Of course it should be taken into account and evidence should be looked for, but witnesses usually go through such a trauma on seeing any kind of an aircraft crash that their evidence is notoriously unreliable. I think actually everybody should put out of their minds that this is significant because it's an Airbus. There have been a number of Boeing accidents in the last year or so. There have been a number of McDonnell Douglas accidents in the last year or so. Airbus now is a very, very big player in the entire world scene. It has a whole range of aeroplanes. It has such a large number of aeroplanes in operation throughout the world that because the numbers are large, there are bound to be accidents from time to time.
The present situation is that there are no particular terrorist organizations in the country that could be held responsible. Although there is a large ethnic minority and some difficulties with the Hungarian ethnic minority, the fact is that the minority never resorted to violence this century. And we do not know of any organization that has made any political demands on the Romanian government. If it is a terrorist attack, it is more likely to come from the various mafia gangs that are vying for influence in Romania itself. In particular, all kinds of drug smuggling that goes on from the Caucasian republics of the former Soviet Union and indeed from the Middle East.
We've seen in other countries, say in Poland for instance, frequent car bombs, though again those have usually been directed very specifically at individuals or business premises. This seems to be very indiscriminate, and so it's difficult to see it in that newly developing tradition of violent crime in the ex-communist countries. The other possibility could be a Belgian link. We may be looking at the wrong end of the question.
Brussels airport, and a nightmare scenario unfolds for relatives and friends waiting for news of Flight 371 from Bucharest. The minutes drag by. Hope slowly fades. The Romanian Airbus missing on the information screens had fallen out of the sky. Those who'd suffered the agonizing wait had done so in vain. The Tarom Airlines Airbus had ploughed into a snow-covered field at Belotesti, north of Bucharest, just 3 minutes after taking off. The aircraft broke up on impact. Wreckage and dismembered bodies were strewn over a wide area. Fires burned in the field for an hour and a half. Firemen spoke of horrible carnage. All 49 passengers and 10 crew had perished in the crash. Investigators said they couldn't be sure at this early stage, but there had probably been an explosion. Tarom Airlines provided an aircraft to fly relatives of the dead from Brussels to Romania. Theirs was to be the grim task of identifying the remains of their loved ones. Witnesses supported the explosion theory. They said they heard a loud bang, then saw the Airbus hurtling earthward, flames belching from its tail, its occupants obviously doomed.
Autant que vous. Si adora, ma questa cosa viene in cosa che capite.
Je crois que ça arrive, ce sont des accidents, et ça se passe comme ça. Mais je crois que tout le monde doit rester tout à fait calme, tranquille, parce que autrement, la peur fait de graves choses.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Boarding of Tarom flight 372 to Bucharest and gate number B4. Tarom wish you a very pleasant flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard our Boeing 737 Tarom to Bucharest. For your comfort and safety, we kindly ask you to use only the overhead bins for your coats and hand luggage.
That the catastrophe took place shortly after takeoff of the plane to Brussels, the Tarom flight 371.
Yes.
And that a great number of Belgians were among the passengers. There were...
What's the number?
Well, we have a list of Tarom just now.
And
with
there
40
was passengers, any very important people from Belgium?
I think you know, madam, if you lose someone, it is very important.
I know.
I know. But if you mean officials, I don't think so. Well, I don't know. No.
And what is the number?
Well, among the 49 passengers, I think we have about 20.
20 passengers?
20 Belgians, but
how many men or how many women?
Well, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know. We have to figure this out. We are a very small staff. We are particularly, of course, touched because we've lost 2 of our dear members of the embassy. No, this is the Chancellor and an attaché.
An attaché?
Yes.
Cultural, military?
No. It was more administrative attaché.
Yes.
I intended to leave to Brussels today to be in this unlucky plane, but because of some papers, I had some difficulties with some papers, I've been delayed. So I chose to leave on May the 5th. And I guess this is the ticket that saved my life. I think I'll frame it.
S'il vous plaît. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Quelles sont les raisons pour lesquelles on a arrêté?
Interview. If you want a statement, I can give it to you in written form. Je ne l'ai pas en français. Je regrette, je ne l'ai pas, monsieur. Mais je l'aurai sans doute plus tard. Je l'aurai sans doute plus tard en français, mais pour l'instant, je ne l'ai pas.
D'accord, dans combien de temps?
Je ne sais pas, monsieur. Pour l'instant, je ne... Oui, je suppose. Oui. Non. I will be reading the statement. So Citizen. Yes, do you want it maintenant? Vous le voulez maintenant?
S'il vous plaît, oui.
Je peux vous le donner tout de suite. Madame, je vous ai donné la déclaration qu'on avait, je n'ai pas d'autre déclaration.
Quelles sont les raisons pour lesquelles Airbus...
Il n'y a pas d'autre déclaration, monsieur.
Les autres...
Demain, je vous contacte. Hein? Je vais vous laisser mon numéro où vous pouvez m'appeler.
Dar care sunt? Zic și tu. Da.
Uite aici, mă!
Deci cele două înregistratoare vor fi trimise în afară pentru decodificare. Exact n-aș putea să vă spun unde.
Și ce se întâmplă acum, acolo, în fața...
Acum se investigează în continuare orice indiciu care să elucideze cauza. Cam asta.
We have received a special team of our gendarmerie, Rijkswacht, specialists in two particular fields: identification of victims and technical examination of the accident. This pertain to what you're asking, what are the causes and how the remains are proceeding, and offering assistance wherever they can.
Procurorul șef. Domnul procuror. Dați-mi voi sacul. Dar am căzut toalete, a căzut.
Vă rog.
Da, poftiți.
Pe asta este.
Deci
astea sunt ceea ce ți-a spus,
deci, din
presupune că s-a
de la fața locului, cam ce credeți dumneavoastră că s-a întâmplat? Un expert.
Probabil că o explozie în aer, pentru că vedeți totul e carbonizat aici.
Airbus A310.
Bă, dar n-am văzut și ziceau ăștia că sunt nemți, care bate și vântul. Dar unde sunt? Mașina m-a dus până acolo. Dar unde sunt ăia?
Pe partea unde a fost înainte, pe mal aici. Nu, lasă-mă, că termina acceleratorul. Aici! Aici!
Uitare de ceva, da?
Dar cum să rup cățile?
Sunt aveți.
Il y a eu dans les journaux chez nous des articles concernant une alerte à la bombe il y a environ 3 semaines. C'est vrai, mais toutes les précautions ont été prises, on a pris au sérieux cette alerte. Le bébé, ça, je crois que oui. Le bébé, je crois que
Mais bon, éventuellement, sur place, on rencontre que c'est techniquement
May I ask, have you got any thoughts as to the cause of the accident, and in fact, whether it was an accident? Do you see any room for speculation?
It was an accident. I guess you mean whether it was malicious or just a pure accident. I told your friends that just a minute ago that I don't want to speculate at all. I personally am convinced it's an accident.
But since so many people go around to figure out or hear rumors about what has been of some threats or whatever, I'm the last man you should ask this question because I've never left my this building since yesterday morning.
But as far as you know, there's been no claim of responsibility, whether bogus or real.
Well, exactly. We haven't heard anything, and as far as the authorities, I asked them to keep me informed, and they would have done so. I'm sure.
I'm a funeral director in Belgium. Going to see the body. I try to see what I can do to send them back. This is dangerous people on the plane.
Il y a eu dans les journaux chez nous des articles concernant une alerte à la bombe il y a environ 3 semaines. C'est vrai, mais toutes les précautions ont été prises sérieux cette alerte.
Ia în brațe. Aia, mă, cu care era în brațe?
Am venit-o înseamnă. Filmează, filmează treaba aia.
Reconsiderați, stai acolo.
Camelia, mă auzi? Vă mulțumim mult!
Dar aveți acestea pe care le portați acum, da?
Exact.
Vor fi decodificate în țară sau străinătate?
După
commemorate today those who died in the crash of the airplane on 𝗠𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵, 𝗠𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗵, Stevenson, Michel van den Hamel, Albert van Ham,
Deci s-a desfăcut și este ruptă în ultima parte a ei. Cam circa 4 cm. Dar s-a găsit acești 4 cm în cutia respectivă. Mâine... Da, da.
Grozavă, fără mărire și fără de chip.
I think it was a technical failure or it was an explosion?
This is too early, and it's the Romanian authorities that we are going to say what it was happened.